Come here.
Wait, is that the boss?
Yep. I sold my likeness to be used in this game. That's where I've been all week, doing motion capture and crap.
Oh, that's where you were. We thought you went crazy.
Yep, guess time. Oogaloo!
That, of course, was a clip from the equal parts absurd and awkward Smiling Friends, which has been making waves through chronically online communities as of late. It is known as the first show to break out of the typical Adult Swim crowd of 20-something-year-olds who are desperate to watch something at 4 a.m. during their regularly scheduled nicotine overdose, and it has garnered the network trillions of dollars through its fame. The show was created by Michael Cusack and Zach Hadel of YouTube animator fame, arguably making the case that content creators can actually be creative and decent human beings that don't just spend their entire days scamming their audiences and talking to minors.
Hello?
A lot of recent adult animated shows have been about on par with the Midwestern white person's kitchen in terms of how little sauce they've got. The genre has become so standardized and formulaic at this point that it makes it somewhat impossible to actually be effectively taken off guard by their comedy. On top of the already lifeless animation and visuals, they also just can't help but lean on tired comedy tropes of either picking on a punching bag character or cutaway gags that remind me of the time I watched an awful cutaway gag on Family Guy.
They're more annoying than ants at a picnic.
Would you mind turning that down? And you're not supposed to be grilling. I know you can understand me.
Oh, wow. I'm gonna say a sexual innuendo now. Usually this type of humor kind of falls flat on its face for me because it's either a horse that's been beaten to the brink of death or just not that clever of a joke to begin with. That being said, this genre of animation has recently had new life breathed into it due to the one show with clips all across YouTube that have done more harm to my impulse control than fentanyl could ever dream of. Smiling Friends is the literal antithesis to every half-baked adult animated show out there that not only has better writing, better animation, better voice acting, better satire, better everything, but it also manages to wield an incredibly potent and useful tool in the form of juxtaposition. One method Zach and Michael have employed into Smiling Friends charity org is the contrast between absurd, cartoonish elements and realistic, awkward ones. Throughout the show, there's the typical moments you'd expect to find in an animated show with paperclip stealing Sasquatches and aliens popping out of break room TVs. And this works well to establish a pretty consistently wacky tone. But on top of that, you also have an absurd amount of incredibly awkward interactions that are exchanged between characters. Moments where the characters are talking over each other, mishearing one another, and miscommunicating because of it, and even stuttering over their words more than pasty as can be high school Ben 11 when it was his turn to read a single sentence out of Huckleberry Finn. Not only are these moments extremely well improv to the point where it feels like you're watching real people's day-to-day awkwardness in the form of these cartoon characters, but it also juxtaposes perfectly with the comedic norm in animated shows having characters that need to be snappy and witty with their delivery of punchlines. The idea of Peter Griffin stuttering over his lines in a way that would put a Discord call logging off for the night to shame is so foreign that it really makes Smiling Friends stand out in that way. While these moments are hilarious in of themselves, the thing that really makes them pop is the contrast between this and this.
I don't really want this.
I mean, I'll take it if you don't want it, Alan. You don't want that.
I mean, yeah, sure, here,
thanks, man.
take it.
Put it right
If
there.
that's all right with you, Mr. Boss, if Charlie has it instead.
I mean, you already gave it to him, but it's your gift, man. Do whatever you want with it.
You wanna... Yeah.
Both of these tones could certainly carry an entire show on their shoulders by themselves, but it would certainly feel a bit more stale after a while without the balance of the other. The unpredictability of Smiling Friends acting as a drunkle on Thanksgiving Day with absolutely no telling what it's gonna do next makes the show a complete thrill ride from front to back. But it's not just the tone that makes use of juxtaposition, because even the animation itself inhibits this unpredictability. Zach and Michael and every lovely animator on the show who would probably get thrown into a wood chipper for not wanting to work 15 hours a day anywhere else in the industry, established a very consistent style to the animation through quick, rapid movements from all the different characters. Whether it be Pim running out of Mr. Boss's office, the witch from the Enchanted Forest cutting an onion better than Gordon Ramsay, or the inarguable best character in the show, Jeremy, they all have an incredibly jittery animation style, until they don't.
Dude, I warned you. I said I was gonna do that if you did that again.
Multiple points in the show, these light-speed character movements come to a grinding halt with hundreds of animation frames busting down the door and possessing poor Jeremy here. It's hilarious to say the least. The sudden smoothness of the animation works incredibly well as a visual gag because the audience isn't expecting for the established flow of animation to be broken. There's also, of course, the great creative choice of presenting certain characters in a completely different animation style, whether it be rotoscoping or stop-motion animation. But even my 5-year-old cousin, who I slapped Smiling Friends on the TV for while his parents weren't looking, noticed that detail. So I'm not gonna talk your ear off about it or anything. But it is pretty sweet, not gonna lie. So yeah, that's about my thoughts on Smiling Friends. Just to regurgitate everything for you that everyone else has been saying about the show, like you're an anorexic baby bird who's listening to a talentless hack with not a single original thought in his head. Show is better than Family Guy, the YouTuber voice acting is great, and they hit the Pentagon.